Welcome to Blood, Guts, and Booze.
I'm Olivia.
And I'm Kendrah. And this is a comedy podcast here to frighten you and make you question the world that we live in. So sit back with your favorite snacks and let's dive into this. Listener discretion is advised, as these podcasts are not for the faint of heart, nor are they PG.
So, first things first, I used multiple sites and research. I cited all my notes. Everything will be on the blog for us, for you guys. And so we don't get any cease and desist orders, because nobody wants those, so...
I don't do that kind of stuff, I just talk.
Yeah.
Sue me.
So, my first case is about the Bell Witch. It is known as one of America's greatest ghost stories, and it is also one of the most baffling paranormal cases within the United States. The Bell Witch is also one of the most credible paranormal stories to date, with numerous eyewitnesses. So how it all started was the Bell family home was built on 300 acres in a place called Red River.
Okay.
Which is now known as Adams, Tennessee in 1804. And if Red River didn't really give it away, the place was built on a Native American burial ground.
Okay, so I'm getting this straight here, that these people decided to build a home on an ancient Indian burial ground. Somewhere that was also called red, which is the color of blood. And they thought they wouldn't be haunted?
Well, I mean, it's 1804. Probably weren't that smart back then, maybe, or I don't know.
No internet yet.
Yeah, they didn't have Google to figure that out. So, John Bell was the father of the entire family, right? Head of the house. He decided to become an elder at the Red River Baptist Church. So, they didn't have any hauntings until 1817. I believe that's... like 13-year difference, roughly?
Well, you're the one
who's
doing it. You should have researched the math.
Yeah, I'm just guesstimating. So the house started being haunted by a malicious spirit known as the Bell Witch, or Kate with a K. I need to clarify that for later information. The paranormal activity happened between 1817 and 1821. Like I said, there were numerous eyewitnesses that ranged from school teachers to reverends to neighbors with their families and even slaves, and along with General Andrew Johnson. Oh, fuck. Yeah, Jackson. General Andrew Jackson, my bad. It's because I read another person's name. I swear I'm not dyslexic, but...
Just a little.
Haven't been diagnosed. But
just back and talkwards a little.
So one of their neighbors was a woman named Kate Batts, and she was upset with the engagement of John Bell's youngest daughter, Betsy, and her beloved school teacher, Joshua.
Hey, maybe this is where batshit crazy comes from.
Maybe.
Like batshit Kate, you know?
Maybe.
Batshit crazy Kate.
With what's about to happen, I'm sure probably exactly where it came from.
I'm going to start saying Kate now every time.
So it was rumored that she was so in love with Joshua, she had either summoned a demon or was the Bell Witch herself.
Okay.
It was also rumored that John Bell and Kate Batts had some beef, but the beef was actually between John Bell and Benjamin Batts, who was thought to be the husband or father of Kate. But genealogy has proven that Kate, with a C, is a descendant of Lucy Bell, who is John Bell's wife.
Okay. Sorry.
And
C.
Kate Batts, who is her cousin, is not the same Kate Batts that people think she is.
Okay, so was it her father or her husband, or was it both?
They're not related at all.
Well, I mean, back then it could have been her father, husband.
Well, yeah, but genealogy has proven in this case that Benjamin Batts is neither her father or husband.
So then
brother.
Who's this random ass chick?
It's just the name the ghost gave.
Okay, continue.
But, so, how it all really started was John Bell was out in the field just, doing his local farm work. Regular chores.
Farming in the fields.
Oh, yeah. It ain't much, but it's honest work, right?
You got it.
And he saw this funny-looking animal, or so he thought. It was this creature with all black fur with a dog's body and a rabbit's head.
Man, bear, pig.
Man, bear, pig. And boom! John shoots at this thing, multiple times, but it ran off. So after that whole kerfuffle he had with this creature, knocks, taps, and bangs started being heard from the outside walls of the house. So it was as if something's on the outside. Let me in. Knock, knock, knock. Just here to clean your windows.
I just want to be your friend.
Yeah. You got any snacks? Could use some chicken nuggies. So the children in the house started hearing chewing on their bedposts at night. Parents are like, just shrugging it off. Oh, it's just rats. Because, you know, it's 1817 and that's clearly the norm. So. But then again, it's probably also the norm in our city, too, with dog food factories.
Ha!
So eventually whispers started being heard around the house. And this spirit decided to appear more and become more vicious. They also started hearing chains being dragged on the floor. One of their slaves, named Dean, made claims of seeing the same big black dog creature whenever he would leave to go visit his wife during the week. Which was about once a week, I want to say, from what I've read.
All right. My money's on this Dean guy.
It's him.
Well, listen. All right, so far we've got this witch, and they hear chains going. Slaves, chains, you know. And I'm sorry, but if I was a black man back then, I'd be about ready to fuck with some white people.
I probably would.
So, you know.
I would to this day, too.
I'm saying, it's Dean.
They probably deserve it.
I'm done with these white people's shit. I'm gonna make them so frightened that they run away, and I'm gonna just stay here.
Give me my money. I'm gonna take their house.
That's why he agreed. He's like, yeah, I seen the dog, man. Sure, totally.
It's just their little Pomeranian.
100% seen it. I seen that squirrel.
So they eventually started having their pillows and blankets being pulled off of everybody's bed during the middle of the night. Like, haha, you have to be cold too, right?
Well, ghosties are cold.
Well, if it's Dean, right? You know, you gotta be cold too. I'm stealing your blankets to keep myself warm.
Yeah.
All the children started being tormented by this spirit, but poor Betsy Bell, who was the youngest again, was most affected, along with John Bell. She started developing bruises as a result from being kicked, slapped, punched, bitten. She had her hair pulled. She felt like she was being stuck with pins. One night, she even woke up with her hair tied to the bedpost. Some pretty kinky shit. I mean, everyone's got their kinks, right?
Even ghosts. You can't tell me that no ghost has a sex fetish.
Well, it happens in Scary Movie too, so...
Yeah, come on.
So, the friends and neighbors of the Bells, James Johnson and his wife, they wanted to see if all the claims that the Bells had and were saying were true. So they decided to stay the night, and at first they didn't experience anything.
As most ghost hunters do.
Exactly. So, and of course, as they're about to leave, that's when shit starts happening. So, then they started having similar experiences as the rest of the family. Everyone's like freaking the fuck out, right? Because, well, everyone's just being hair tugged, slapped, pinched. So James yelled at the spirit, asking who it was and what it wanted. And he turns to the Bells and said, "This is a spirit that only the Bible is going to help you with." And started screaming the Lord's name.
Praise Jesus.
At the ghost. Like, woo.
The power of Christ compels you.
Literally some exorcism shit. But I don't think he was properly appointed from the Vatican. Clearly it didn't work, right?
I mean, if I needed to be exercised, is that what it is?
Exercised, yeah.
It just sounds like I'm going on a treadmill. But if I needed to be exercised,
then,
I mean, do it on a treadmill, first of all.
I mean, you get pretty winded.
Yeah, double help here. Then, I'd rather it be a Vatican person. You know, someone straight from Rome.
Exactly. You gotta have.
I'm not doing it with some $2 priest from 7-Eleven.
Can you imagine? Oh my God. That would happen. That would happen here, 1,000%. So the Bell Witch started singing and making quotes and having conversations. And the quotes were happening from churches in 2 different locations that were miles apart within Red River. So she was clearly able to leave the property.
So nothing bound her there?
No. Nothing bound her there. Which is pretty impressive, and this means it's a very strong spirit, if that's the case. So 3 of John Bell's sons worked alongside General Andrew Jackson, who wanted to see the spirit for himself. So him and his crew decided to head on over. When they started arriving on the Bell property, they claimed the wheels on their wagons were being locked in place. They thought they were being stuck by a muddy creek, and they were very unsuccessful at getting them out. And as they were trying to get the wagon out, they could hear a female voice yelling things at them.
Okay, so wooden wheels got stuck in mud, and that's a ghost?
According to these guys, yeah.
Okay, again, debunked.
1,000%. I mean, it's 1817, right?
By the way, guys, I'm not a big.
She's a skeptic.
I'm a skeptic in a lot of things. I'm more of like, nonfiction things I 100% know happened.
I'm a believer, but I do like to see the skeptic side of things, so I tend to bounce between both because I like to see what the logical reason is, but I also love to see what the believable.
So just saying, I'm going to keep raining on Olivia's parade all the time. She's trying to make me believe in conspiracy theories sometimes.
She's going to shit on me all the time.
We'll see. But at the same time, I'm going to try and I'm going to get her one of these days and freak her out with a story. I'm telling you. Tell her something that'll freak her right out. All right, so tell me.
We'll see.
These crappy old wagons couldn't get through mud. Surprise.
Yeah.
And then some crazy woman was screaming at them.
Yep. They started hearing a female voice screaming nasty things at them. One of his men started yelling that he was a witch tamer, and he had silver bullets that could vanquish any evil spirit.
Oh, sure.
And as what happens with any provoking with anything evil, shit hits the fan. So he started screaming because his body started contorting, and he said it felt like he was being severely beaten. When all of a sudden the witch, I guess, roundhoused this motherfucker right out the front door of the Bell's house.
So I thought they were in a wagon.
Well, I skipped a part, I guess. They're in the house at this point, so... So she basically roundhouses him right out the door and screams that he's a fraud. And she would expose a second fraud by the end of the night.
Dun 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 dun.
Da-na-na, da-na-na-na. And the men, like the little bitches that they are, begged and pleaded the general to let them all leave. They just wanted to piece the fuck out. He insisted on staying.
Even the witch tamer?
Well, he wanted to go too. I mean, I could imagine he's being contorted. He probably wants to get the fuck out of there.
My whole job is to kill witches, but this witch, no.
Not today, Satan.
I lied earlier. I just wanted to seem like a man.
Not in my house. So, it's not really sure exactly how that entire conversation went down, but I'm gonna guess that they begged him enough to leave because they were seen heading back to Nashville very early the next morning.
He was probably faking the whole witch tamer thing. It's like the whole joke about, how much lifted is your truck, and then they drive by with that loud noise, and you're like, yeah, you got a tiny penis. It's a thing of manhood,
Exactly.
So back then, the big thing, instead of lifting up your...
I'm a witch tamer.
Yeah, I'm a witch tamer. Just saying.
Especially because the hype of witches was still really big at this time, because this only happened roughly 130, 150 years after the Salem witch trials.
Yeah.
So he could get away with being a witch tamer without being a witch tamer.
Yeah.
Definitely the fraud that she called him out to be. So after the general was gone, the Bells continued to live their life. Betsy was still engaged to her school teacher. And everyone in town was very, very excited, except for the Bell Witch.
Which, by the way, is kind of creepy nowadays if you think about it.
She was very, very young. want to say she was around 13. Which is kind of icky, and I believe he was in his 20s. So, ew.
Gross.
But, I mean, to each their own, right?
I mean, back then it was okay. You could have an 11-year-old bride and get away with it.
Yup. So, the witch still wasn't very happy about this, and she would start getting so angry, she would scream orders for Betsy not to marry Joshua. Girl, he is too old for you. Don't fucking do it. Live your best life. Find someone when you're older.
So is she protecting the little girl from a potential pervert, or is she wanting to marry this dude?
I'm going to say 1,000% she's probably being a huge feminist and helping a sister out. Protecting her.
Cool.
Me personally. That's what I would do. Betsy and Joshua would get so annoyed with the witch that they would travel to all over Adams to hang out and, go to Lover's Lane from here and there. Every single time that witch would show up and harass them like the cockblock that she is. It became way too much for Betsy that she ended up ending the engagement on Easter Monday of 1821. And as promised to John and Lucy Bell, after all this, the witch was so happy. She promised she would return in 7 years and did so on the dot. She also promised to return in 107 years and make a personal visit to his direct descendant, who in 1935 was Dr. Charles Bell. So when she made her appearance, comes bursting through the door like, I'm back.
107 years later.
No, 7 years later at this point.
Okay.
7 years first. She would scream all over the farm that she would kill old Jack Bell, which was a jab at his name because John Bell. She's just trying to get under his skin.
I'm gonna fuck with you so bad, I'm gonna just not even call you by your right name.
Pretty much.
Maybe she just forgot. She went underground for 7 years. She's like
Jeepers Creepers.
She's like, what was it? John, Jack, Jacob? Crap. Well, I'll just call him Jack.
So, over those 7 years, John Bell's health had decreased a lot, which made him pretty housebound. So she would start harassing him, whether he was in bed or not, doing the same shit she always did, pulling the blankets, pillows, chains, taking his shoes off, tying them while he walked. And he became epileptic, and every time he would have an episode, she would slap him across the face when he came to, which is pretty fucking rude, if you ask me.
Dude, I'd be so mad.
Well, yeah, you don't know what the fuck's going on. You just blacked out, and then some bitch is slapping you across the face, and you can't even see her.
I'd be so mad. So mad.
So, John Bell passed away on December 20th of 1820 after going into a coma. They found a vial with black stuff inside of it, not knowing if it was poison or not. John Jr. fed some to their poor, dear old kitty cat.
So wait, they found some black gunk. You got this vial sitting there. They found some black gunk, and they go, you know what I'm going to do with this? I'm going to not throw it away. I'm not going to throw it away. I'm not just going to get rid of it and have it investigated. I'm going to just feed it to my cat.
Well,
I don't think they like their cat.
I don't like them for not liking their cat.
Who does that? My dad just died, and this random vial of black stuff appeared. I'm going to just feed it to this cat right here and see what happens. Science!
Because the whole time the witch is the cat.
Like Salem! Oh, fuck yeah. Hey, there you go.
Yeah, there we go. It all makes sense now. It's some Sabrina shit.
Was it a black cat?
That I actually don't know. So, the cat, after it got fed the black shit, it twitched and flipped over dead on the spot. Which, shame on you for killing a cat.
Bad idea.
Yeah, which, the witch started screaming. Wasn't about the cat, though. She was screaming that she killed John Bell with the poison from the vial the night before. So, John Jr. hucked the vial into the fire, and it burst into blue flames and went out the chimney. Woo! So, now skipping 107 years forward into 1935.
When the bitch came back.
When the cat came back the very next
day. And so I was thinking the bitch is back like Elton John,
Yeah, complete polar opposites there. I was just going with the cat because the cat. So Dr. Charles Bell published a book that had notes taken from John Jr. and Dr. Joe Bell. Dr. Charles Bell passed away in 1945 with no follow-up book, so everyone's question is whether or not she actually returned to visit him or not. It is still unknown if she did make her appearance 107 years later.
I feel like if you want to make a ghost story real, you better actually pay attention.
No shit,
Like,
right?
you'd be like, yo, no, she seriously did this. Somebody should have claimed it.
Keep the story going.
Yeah, like, you don't have people just forgetting about, like, other ghosts, you know?
Exactly.
Like, you could not pay me enough to walk into the Amityville house, man. Come on. Because I know it's still haunted.
1,000% I would go in there.
So, see, I do believe in some ghosties. Like Amityville house? Nuh-uh.
1,000% I would go in there.
You could not pay me enough money to go into that friggin' house. No way.
I would try to spend the night,
No way.
but I don't think it would happen.
Nope.
I'm not gonna lie, I love this shit, but I wouldn't give myself more than, like, an hour in that place before I bitched out.
I don't believe in much that I can't see, but, like, ghosts, like, I get it. I'm just, I'm gonna question it, but Amityville, We'll tell you all about this crazy thing another day.
Oh,
okay?
yeah, that's for a completely different episode. So, last but not least, I just got a few interesting facts for us before I wrap it up.
Facts.
Yeah, the more you know. So, there's also a cave on the property of the Bell home, which is known as the Bell Witch Cave.
Mm-hmm.
It, like I said earlier, the place was built on Native American grounds.
Oh, yeah, I forgot all about that.
Yes. So, claims are that there are remains of a 12-year-old girl who had been shot that was on the property. When they started doing construction in more recent years, they dug her up by accident.
God damn it.
So they placed her body into the cave to, to preserve it, to keep it safe, so that way nothing bad happens. So the people that own the property now do, ghost hunts, tours, shit like that on their property. And over the years, bones and the rocks from the little girl and inside the cave have been taken by some pretty ignorant people. I would say you don't touch people's remains. That's just not okay. Very, very disrespectful, whether you believe in this shit or not. But every time they have been sent back because bad luck comes upon those who take what's not theirs.
Like an opposite rabbit's foot.
Karma is literally a bitch.
Like the Bell bitch. Bell witch. Shit.
Yeah.
Bell bitch.
The Bell bitch, yeah.
There you go. Just rename her that.
Yeah, the Bell bitch witch Karma. So, the property is owned by Chris and Walter Kirby. Their website is thebellwitchparanormaladventures.com if you want more information about their tours. So, we also had a wonderful group of paranormal investigators go within the cave. Good old Ghost Adventures.
Zach Bagans
For the win. So they've been known to be one of the first or only filmed paranormal crews to be in that place. They also heard voices, pig grunting, they saw orbs. They believe that there is a vortex within the cave that helps fuel the fire for the energy on the property. They invited one of the live-in descendants of the Bells into the cave with them for their investigation. They had a lot of weird shit happen. I watched the episode. It's really good. They had these big pillars that did some weird paranormal shit. I don't quite remember what they did, but they did catch all those voices, the grunting, the orbs. They did have a lot of stuff happen when the descendant was within the cave, which makes sense. I mean, a Bell descendant with the Bell Witch. She did promise to come back and haunt the family, so. But, that was pretty much it. They they also, one quick thing, they also believe that some of the bellboys went into the cave and brought back some bones and maybe a tooth or bone, hair, anything could have fallen off on the property, and that's what could have been the cause for all this paranormal stuff, which could explain why maybe it happened so long after they built their house on the property.
Yeah.
Because they landed on the property in 1804, and the paranormal activity didn't happen until 1817, so that's a big gap. And I don't know if you have any theories to this, but for me, that seems like the most logical thing that could explain the hauntings.
It makes sense.
With the burial ground, like, you're disturbing a body. I mean, whether you drop anything or not, you're still bringing up energies that probably weren't resolved with that specific person and could result in that bad karma that can happen. Which would also explain why when people take rocks or bones from the cave now, end up sending it back because they have bad luck. I could see it. It to me, that seems very logical.
I mean, to me, it's kind of common knowledge for anyone who knows anything about anything, basically, is that you don't fuck with ancient burial grounds. It's just, you don't do it. But I'm going to stick with what I said earlier in this podcast here, and I'm going to say it was Dean, but I'm going to change it a little bit, okay? Because I think that he had his wife in on it. And that's why he went and seen her every week, to get her in on it. And that maybe some of them screams were like that fucking cat. I don't know, just chains, slaves, him not liking them white people. No.
Vengeance.
Yeah,
You know. Get what he deserved.
I'm gonna just stick with Dean,
Yeah.
Maybe it's just that I don't like the name. I don't know.
Maybe. Well.
But, still, at the end, don't fuck with ancient burial grounds. That is the lesson learned for today, I think.
Yeah, definitely. 1,000%, yeah.
Because things that you do not want to happen to you will happen to you if you do it.
So you guys know what our theories are as to who or what and why the Bell Witch came to be. And now you guys can make your own theories and do your own research and see for yourself.
It's been a lovely, lovely day talking to you guys.
Yeah, it's good first episode.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
We'll be back next week. Stay tuned.
Bye-bye.
Special thanks to Dylan Sears for the theme song and Sally Gunter for the cover art. Support us on Patreon and like, share, rate, and subscribe to us on all of our social media pages and your podcast streaming service. Do you have any personal stories or suggestions for the show? Email us at bloodgutsandbooze@gmail.com.